to Week in Review. Week in Review is a video where we take the reviews that we did this past week on the Dice Tower, and we give you some quick rundowns on our thoughts on them. And if you're interested, you can go check out the full review on them. So let's get started.
Hey folks, welcome back to another Week in Review. This week I was able to do, first of all, the Manhattan Project Chain Reactions. Not an expansion to Manhattan Project. It's actually a standalone card game where basically everything is stripped down to hand management and managing your resources to build bomb plans. So it's really quick, takes about 20 to 30 minutes to play. One of my favorite games that I've played here recently as far as ease, shortness, but still there's a good bit of thematic immersion there. Not a whole lot, it's just a card game, but you get what I'm saying. So go check that review out. I was also able to do a Miami Dice with Tom for In the Name of Odin, the new game from NSKN Games that we were able to get a copy of at Gen Con, and pretty cool. I like it. It has very good artwork. It has a great looking board that's very immersive. The mechanisms are not very Viking-y, but still fun nonetheless. A really cool resource action card-driven game that plays in about 60 minutes, so it's really cool. A mid-weight level Euro game, which is the ones that I really enjoy. So go check that one out. Also did a review for a game called Clax, a Discworld board game set in Terry Pratchett's Discworld universe. And it's kind of an abstract strategy game. You can play it two different ways. You can either play it competitively, which is where it's really just an abstract strategy game. But then you can also play it cooperatively, where there's a little bit more theme wrapped into it. So go check out that review. I really enjoyed it, had a great time. Then I was also able to do a review for Xenoshift Dreadmire. The new standalone expansion is what I'm going to call it for Xenoshift from Cool Mini or Not. Michael Chanel is the designer. Really cool step up. If you thought that Xenoshift was too easy, give Dreadmire a call because it's ready and willing to slap you down and then curb stomp you. Then I was also able to do a top 5 list. This time it was on top 5 short games. These are games that I enjoy that are usually 30 minutes or less. And they're my top 5. So go check that out as well. And that's it for me. See you on the flip side.
Hey everybody, Z Garcia here. Last week I reviewed 5 games. I reviewed Maigo Neko, which is this one right here, translates to Stray Cat. And in it, you are a stray cat trying to find your way home. The game is cute, but it's largely for kids, I think. I think it does not translate to adults very well. And it's really, really random. Very lucky game. You could just stumble onto the right place and win the game. So I wish it was a little bit stronger of an offering. I also reviewed Matryoshka here, which is a small card game about trading and set collecting. The game is a little bit too flat for me. You keep doing the same things over and over, and the tension does not build. Also, the trading is very simplistic, so one that I wasn't too impressed with also. Valley of the King's Last Rites is the 3rd installment in the deck building series. Now this one, on the one hand, does introduce some new things like a new starting deck of cards and cards that are a little bit more timing based. But on the other hand, it's largely the same game. It's the same offering, same concepts. So I was ready for this 3rd one to really step out into new territory, and it largely does not, unfortunately. Unusual Suspects is a reprint from Cool Mini or Not of the original offering, and the game is fantastic. It's one of my favorite party games. I think you're going to have a blast playing this one with friends and family. Definitely recommend it. And then finally, a surprise hit for me, Sugar Gliders. And this one is just a fantastic abstract style kind of game with you flying around with your little sugar glider, grabbing up fruit, trying to score the most points. It takes that whole concept like, hey, that's my fish kind of game, and really elevates it for me. I love Hey, That's My Fish. This is even better. So absolutely recommend you try to get your hands on this one. And that's it for me. I will see you next time.
Okay, for me, I did a pile of reviews last week. We'll start with the worst, which was Burger Mania, which looks really fun. A conveyor belt where little burgers are moving along and you drop them off. but it's just really poorly put together. The idea itself is not a horrible idea, but the concept and execution feels like it was a poorly made toy where they cut every possible corner. It feels like it was made by the government. Slap is a interesting game where you're going to write answers down and then let your things slap down, and everyone's supposed to know the answers, and the fastest one wins. Not a terrible concept, but pretty much ruined by the fact that they gave almost no questions in the set, and the questions range from all over the place, from really easy questions to questions that aren't quite so easy at all. Jump Ship and Stowaway are two of the card adventures games that are coming from Gamewright Games. Think of these as choose-your-own-adventure games, but they're a deck of cards rather than a book, and you go through them. And the idea is okay, and it sounds interesting. It's not really much of a game, as much of a solitaire-type puzzle, but the stories are just not that well written, and they're just not that exciting, and they're a little bit random for my tastes. Jason and I took a look at Cartagena, which is an older pirate game in which you're trying to escape out of prison. The game is all about move forward or move back so that you can get cards to move forward. Optimization. I enjoyed it more than Jason. It's still not a fantastic game, but it is a pretty solid little racing game. I also took a look at Morocco, which is dry as all get out with cubes on a board, and you're trying to control different shops that are selling juice. And so there's some interesting area control and getting things. The theme is pretty much non-existent. The gameplay itself is good, decent, I guess would be the best word for it. That's Morocco. What's Up? This is a small little card game in which you are simply just trying to flip over cards and put them in front of you in rows. It's kind of like an advanced memory because the two different sides of the card are different and you're flipping them as you search for things that you need. Ski Wampus. This is a number game from Gamewright in which you are quickly putting down tiles as fast as you can, trying to get maybe circles that have all the same number or different numbers or different colors or combinations thereof. And you're doing it in a speed way. The better player is likely going to win, although there's variants that can change that. Certainly a good educational tool. In the Name of Odin, Sam and I took a look at this one on Miami Dice. I enjoyed it. The theme is okay. It's not that strong of a theme, but it is a good, solid middleweight Euro game in which you are basically collecting different Vikings to then go out on trips and accomplish them and get points. Jenga Quake. I didn't expect to like this one. It's a variant of Jenga where the base shakes, but it adds enough fun and entertainment for me. That base shaking keeps the game from being this boring, slow affair. The games are pretty quick, and you're never sure when the base is going to shake, so you want to take your turn as quickly as possible. Hit Zeroed is a really beautifully produced zombie game. Beautiful might be the wrong word, but the aesthetics of this game are amazing. A+ on that. And the game itself is just a fun auction a little bit, but then just dice chucking game where you're going to be fighting zombies and rolling dice and trying to kill them. Simple and entertaining. I took a look at the Mage Wars expansion, the Paladin and the Siren. This is for Mage Wars Arena. This adds the two new mages. I thought the mages were okay, but what I really liked were all the cards. Sharkman, and you can flood the board with water and things like that. Some interesting, cool cards there. I took a look at the Others. This is the Others, the Seven Deadly Sins from Cool Mini or Not. This is a game that's a one versus all, where one person is playing the Sin player, everyone else is playing Holy Warriors type against this. A very good, quick game with some interesting, especially a cool corruption mechanism. My rating was dampened a little bit because the theme is kind of gross. All the monsters look like gross, nasty Cthulhu rejects. But the gameplay itself was fun. Imagine. This is a fun concept-like game in which players are using clear cards and putting them down and trying to form images and have other people guess, and you're putting cards on top of each other and animating them. A pretty neat idea, more of an activity than a game, but a fun activity. Jason and I took a look at Energy Empire. This is, it's Manhattan Project Energy Empire, but it's not Manhattan Project. It's just set in the same universe, which is our universe. But anyhow, in this game, which involves dice rolling and collecting resources and activating buildings and worker placement, but very quick, 45 minutes to an hour, a really solid, entertaining game. Then we have the King of New York, Power Up. This is an expansion for the King of New York monsters, which allows you to use them, so evolution cards with them. It gives each monster its own special ability in both King of New York and King of Tokyo. That's great to be able to use it with both games. And the power-up thing has really been growing on me. It's a way to differentiate your monsters. I like it a lot. And then finally, Feast for Odin. Melody and I took a look at this game. This is the Uwe Rosenberg big box game, like Caverna and Agricola. This one is, there's a ton of pieces. There's a lot going on and has a patchwork-like thing where you're putting down the pieces to fill in a grid. It's a huge amount of options and a worker placement game. Very interesting and entertaining, and it is slowly moving up in how much I like it each time I try it out. So those are the games that we played this past week, or reviewed this past week anyhow. If you like them, check out the full review. Don't forget to check out Board Game Breakfast. Comment on our Facebook page. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vasel. This is Dice Tower, and you've been watching Week in Review.